we're at our open forum, so let me just read something ahead of time, some of our guidelines. The open public forum will be placed on the agenda for regular board meetings. During this part of each regular school board meeting, up to 30 minutes of time will be allowed for district constituents to address the school board. Each person is asked to identify him or herself by name, and if he or she represents an organization, to name the group. Remarks should be addressed to the board as a whole. Each presentation may have up to 2 minutes of time. The school board will not hear complaints about individual school employees or permit discussions of such matters in an open meeting. No response, reaction, nor action shall necessarily be taken by the board during an open forum portion of the meeting, and the school board will take no action at a meeting on an issue raised for the first time by the public. You know, it looks like we've got 8 people, so I'll just start right on the top. Okay.
And can I ask a question?
Good.
Can I ask a question first? So are there any board reports or staff reports that will happen during the open forum tonight?
Yeah, I believe we do have some board reports. Is that what you mean, later on?
During the open forum, rather than during the board meeting.
I think we'll just have the open forum at this point. Okay, so it looks like number 8 is up first. So Daryl, come on up.
I thought the last to sign up would be the last to speak. I'm Daryl Meyer, live south of the junior high. I just wanted to come and tell the board that for the last 8 years, I've been a part of a Kiwanis group that has read to all of the preschoolers and kindergartners in the not only in the district but in the county, visiting the classrooms, reading to the children, giving them a copy of a book, generally the one that was read. This last couple of years, there's been some innovation with that, going to distant reading, using the facilities here for the readers, and then providing books to the office, who saw to it then that the books arrived at the different schools and classrooms to which they were reading. In the other districts, other arrangements were made. But I also wanted to say that I have enjoyed the 30-plus years that we've lived here because of the school's general progressiveness. Their automated, their electronic systems and things are fantastic. My wife and I sponsor youth in 3 other countries, their education in the city of Nairobi, Kenya, Hermanus, South Africa, and a city primarily of Churachandpur in northeast India on the east side of Bangladesh. And during some of these, we have sponsored children for over 20 years. They don't begin to have the automated, the electronic, the digital types of equipment. We have sent money for masks because the children in all of those schools that we sponsor have been wearing masks for almost 100% of the time for the last 2 years.
Okay, Daryl. That's 2, but thank you very much.
Very good.
So number 4, Jeff Miller.
Good afternoon, Jeff Miller, 103 Ridge Road. We're just going to take a few moments just to review a little bit about PLCs and learning, professional learning communities. I know that Albert Lee has spent years working on and implementing PLCs, and it's a very smart thing to do. Richard DeForest is one of the leaders that I know Albert Lee used in developing their PLC program, and Dr. DeForest relied very heavily on research that John Hattie did. It's visible learning. And as a researcher, and he just spent years collecting information and quantifying what had the greatest effect on student learning. And currently, he has 252 influences that he has ranked. Started out with 150. Number one is collective teacher efficacy. It's teachers working collaboratively. So it's extremely smart that this district did what they did. Out of the top 20 effects, 15 of them rely directly on teachers. It's by far the most important thing when it comes to student learning. The mission of the district is to ensure individual academic growth. The business of the district is student learning, and the way you do that is you take care of your staff. You make sure you have the best staff, and you make sure they're safe, you make sure they're healthy, which is what you're doing. I thank you for your work.
Okay. Thank you. Is that number? Sure, yep, 5. So, Mike Shep, come on up, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to waive this opportunity to say anything for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. April Danielson, number 7.
So I'll just jump right to it. I sent an email earlier. I figure it got here way too late anyways, but I just wanted to bring up a couple points. I know at the last meeting it was brought up that there were options available to all students in the district that didn't want to wear a mask or didn't want to necessarily have to accommodate to this, and we were one of those families. We were not given options. We were told if our child missed school, he would be truant. So now I'm in front of you asking what our options are as homeschool parents. What does the school district offer? I know across the state, most districts offer options available for students that include things like laptop rentals, tablet rentals, school lunches. These are all financial expenses that homeschool parents are stuck kind of facing. So as a community member, I pay my taxes. I just kind of want to bring that up because I think that's going to be a bigger and bigger need in our community as we're accommodating to every type of child that's learning. And that includes homeschool, that includes co-ops, that includes students in public school. So I just think that is something that needs to be addressed by the school board, and information needs to be delivered. I've looked online, I've contacted the school, and we're not getting anywhere. So it's kind of a hot button issue, I know, but I know there's plenty of homeschool parents in our community that would take advantage of those resources. So thank you.
Thank you. Angie Stendel.
If I'm allowed, I would like to give my 2 minutes to Dustin Stendel when he comes up.
I don't believe that we've got the passing of that, do we? But, you know what? We got time tonight, okay?
Okay, thank you very
You
much.
bet. Dustin, worked out.
Good afternoon. My name is Dustin Stendel. I'm a resident of Alberley, a small business owner, and a parent. I'm a parent of a high school student who was unenrolled from the high school without our notice. That's not why I'm here. I've become very concerned with what I've been witnessing in our community regarding comments and actions taken by this board and the District 241 administration. The open forum meeting on September 20th, 2021 is the cause for my finding the need for me to speak to you today. Viewing the videos of that board meeting were disheartening. There are many more than one that are accessible publicly. One that was recorded by concerned citizens and one published and promoted by the district. The one promoted by the district has been edited and portions of that video have been removed from public view. After hearing open forum statements, a member of the board made a motion to add additional minutes as there was not enough time for much of the public to speak that wanted to. That motion was seconded. During discussion, a board member suggested that although points valid, the board member stated, and these are quotes, "Nothing new is being heard. I suggest that those concerns have not been addressed by the board." The board member then stated, "Shut them up. I don't need to sit through this crap. I'm tired of it. A bunch of bull." If that is how this board, and especially this member, is going to conduct themselves, I'm requesting this member resign for not taking seriously the concerns of the people that elected him into office. The acting chair then called a recess, stating, "I am," as a quote, "as board chair, I am calling a recess for this meeting, and we, the board, will leave, and we will find a room downstairs. Dr. Funk will help us, facilitate that." This was a public meeting with public input. It is obvious to me that some members of this board, not all, are not concerned with the laws relating to the open public meetings under Minnesota State Statute, Chapter 13D. When this recess took place, the District 241 superintendent began directing members of the board to vacate the room. This is evidenced by the unedited concerned citizen video that is widely available to the public. Why is the superintendent controlling actions of the members and meeting procedures? After learning of and reviewing video documentation as well as emails recently brought to light by a Freedom of Information Act request by other concerned individuals between a board member and the superintendent, stating that a board...
Dustin, we can't talk about employees. I'll let the first one slide, but...
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Understood. Well, I'm going to direct it at a title.
Not the title, because there's only one in the district, is the same as an employee.
Then I'll say the administration.
Okay?
Concerned between a board member and the administration, stating that a board member has zero authority to request public information, I'm calling on this board to conduct a thorough investigation of the administration for insubordination.
Okay, thank you, Dustin. That would be your 4 minutes. 2 + 2, thank you. Joel Erickson.
Thank you for letting me speak. I was here at the last board meeting and glad to be here at this meeting as well. I just want to say to every one of you, thank you very much for what you're doing. I appreciate all your work. I appreciate your attentiveness. And I have 2 grandchildren, Axel and Trixie. Axel is a 7th grader, and Trixie is a 4th grader. And they love their teachers, they love their school, and we're really excited about their involvement in the life of this school system. So I just kind of fight this mask. And it's also very hard for a retired Lutheran pastor to be under a time limit in terms of speaking. I just want to say that wearing mask is really important. And our grandkids, when they come over for movie night on Friday night, when they come to our place, they wear a mask. Because my wife has autoimmune issues, and they want to keep her safe. So our son, the daughter-in-law, and the 2 grandkids, we watch, have movie night, and have a wonderful time. So it's kind of a thing that I hope we continue. It's really important. And I think we recognize that. I know that there's been cases of COVID, 2 cases where we're living with employees, and because they were wearing masks, they didn't spread the COVID. One woman who cleans our room, because she had a mask, did not spread the COVID. So the mask wearing is really important, and I celebrate it. And I just want to affirm once again your work here as administration, the teachers, the school board. I celebrate what you are doing. You're being true to yourselves and true to this mission of this city and this education. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you. And that would be number 6. Casey.
Hello. My name is Casey Walters. I am a parent of an elementary student. COVID is real and is not going away. But masking our children is not the solution to end COVID. Masking has had negative psychological and educational effects, especially on our youngest kids. Since universal masking has gone into effect, my son has been exposed twice during the same week and was quarantined. This put a burden not only on our family, but also on my son's education. He was given busy work to do for 45 minutes a day. How was that effective? This is not providing an equitable education for all of our students. My son never developed COVID symptoms or tested positive, so why are we punishing healthy students by keeping them home? Our children deserve an education within the walls of our school. That's what our taxpayer dollars are supposed to provide. Masking is not the solution. This should be left to a family's choice whether to mask or not. Our active cases in the county and within the schools have stayed permanently the same, whether masked or unmasked. My son has even said, my 7-year-old son has even said, masking does no good if we are not all masked outside the schools. We are not masking outside of our community. The same teachers that are saying that they are afraid of getting COVID from their students are the same people that you see at Hy-Vee and Walmart and restaurants not wearing masks. So why are we continuing to punish our children and slap masks on them? We have never masked our students during the height of flu season. We don't quarantine them, and we don't do contact tracing. We tell families to keep their kids home if they're sick. It should be the same now.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Thank you. Okay, number 4 is the public hearing regarding the tax abatement for new home construction. Dr. Funk.
Just an opportunity for members of the public to speak on this.
Okay, thank you. All right. Number 5 is unable to be here tonight for celebrating our successes, so I will go to number 6 for the approval of today's agenda and look for a motion and a second to approve. Oh.
Dr. Bagra is not available from Mayo tonight, so he said he can reschedule for the 1st or the 15th if necessary for November.
So the 9.2 that
correct.
also. So, okay, so 9.2 would be removed for from Dr. Bagra. Okay.
I'll move to approve the agenda with the exception of 9.2.
Okay, is there a second? And any discussion?
I have a couple questions. So I know I've mentioned it before many times, but the camera is on the audience instead of the board. So if we could please switch that and be sure to use our mics, turn them on and off, so that proper recording can be done for accessibility. And then, is there an overflow room tonight like there was on 9/20?
No, thank you.
And how were members notified of the overflow room last month?
What was, I'm sorry, Joe, how are members what?
How were members notified that there was an overflow room last month?
The open forum? Hi.
Overflow room.
Oh, I'm not positive. The last meeting, you mean, right?
Right,
Yeah.
because some members knew and some didn't. So I'm just
Oh, okay.
wondering, I'm wondering which members knew.
I didn't know of any open. Do you any?
You're approving the agenda, Dave.
Okay.
Right, and this is a point of privilege about the agenda. The board.
But it's not part of the agenda, so, but I don't know of any situation with the overflow room, so. Okay, is there any other discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose the same sign. Number 7, consent agenda. I look for a motion to approve.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose the same. Okay. 8.3. Oops, my bad. Turned the page a little quick. 8.1, Dr. Funk, Superintendent report.
First thing tonight, some good news. The Helverson Elementary gym is complete. I think the board is aware, I'm not sure if the public is, that there was a water main or a sprinkler head that broke during the frigid weather last winter, bubbled the floor, and so our insurance company paid to have the floor replaced, and it's ready to go for winter here. So kids started utilizing the floor last week, which is a good thing. The other thing of note is Hammer Field is getting used this week on a regional basis. We have the 1AA soccer finals. The big schools are going to be there tomorrow night, hosting the girls' final game at 5 o'clock and the boys at 7:30. So that's great that people on more of a statewide basis can come and see it. So that's a real positive for us. Some of the board members probably saw this in the update last week, but our early childhood special education numbers are very high. We think that this is potentially related to the pandemic. Maybe not as many young students were in school last year, and so we are seeing, in a typical year, we would see 100 early childhood students, maybe mid-year, and into sometime between second and third quarter. We're already at, I think, 99. So a lot of referrals for early childhood at this point. It's good news for the district that we're enrolling kids, but that is a lot of student need out there. And then the other thing is I had an opportunity, and I know Neil was there, to sit in on the social studies curriculum review meeting that occurred a few weeks ago at Southwest Middle School. Good group turned out, and we really had a chance to break up into two groups, secondary and really the elementary, and start to take a deeper dive into what the potential impact of those standards will be for us as a district. We will also, as I stated, once we complete that review, share that with the curriculum committee, and then we will be reporting that back to the board. Thank you.
Board reports, we'll start with Bruce. Go back to the left.
I attended the Teacher of the Year Committee virtual meeting. It was more of an organizational meeting than anything else. We've got a good cross-section of staff and community members. on that committee, so they're working really hard to make that a special event. And nominations will start on January 4th. Attended a facilities committee meeting. Most of the projects are completed from the summer. The biggest project this year was the Halverson windows in the 100 building. And like Steve mentioned last week, the energy person, it should really help with energy at Halverson. Next year, the biggest project will be starting to re-roof the high school, and that'll be a five-year project. I also attended the Athletic Hall of Fame banquet, which was really, really well attended, and some good nominees were inducted. And I also attended the Distinguished Alumni and Distinguished Educators, and there again another group of great candidates were inducted.
Thank you. Jill?
I've received a couple inquiries about how expulsions are handled in the district, and I have received some concerns in those areas, so I'll be bringing those forth and requesting some information. I have outstanding questions from September 20th, so it's been about a month now, so I'm wondering, Mr. Chair, when I can expect those answers from you. You haven't responded to me since your September 20th email, so I've asked you when I can expect answers, so I'll ask you here in open session.
You'll get an answer.
I'll get an answer when?
I'm not positive. Any other committee reports?
I also am I'm also waiting answers from September 27th from administration about what onerous burden I've put on staff, and if other board members are not receiving answers to their questions, or is it just myself. I've also requested policy 201 be brought for review, and wondering when I can expect the answers to those.
Okay.
Since it's almost a month. Also, in the October 4th workshop, I requested that policy be revisited concerning open forum at workshops, not just at meetings. And I have heard nary a word, so I would like some responses to my requests.
Okay. Neil?
Many of the things that I've been involved with, Bruce already covered. The building and grounds with Mr. Anderson, and the Social Studies Committee. That group met at Southwest last week, I believe it was, and that's an interesting adventure. The new Social Studies standards are in the process of being developed. It seems like they've been in that process for a long time. And we are, as a committee, coming up with some exposure to those standards and how we can embed those standards in our curriculum. And it has always been my opinion, and I shared this opinion with the committee, that in order to embed standards in a curriculum, you do not have to engage in some drastic overhaul of your curriculum. Our present curriculum, in most instances, I believe, is perfectly adequate to incorporate or embed those new standards. It's just a matter of using a same or very similar curriculum to serve as a vehicle for some changes and some additions to the standards. So that's a committee that's a very good idea to have, I think, so we can get a number of people involved in discussing how we are going to deal with that development. I attended the Albert Lee Austin Special Ed consortium. This was done at the same time I was in the high school for the distinguished alumni presentation. I stepped out into the cafeteria, picked up my phone, and attended the meeting. Lori Volz has been involved, while she was here in Albany, and then after she left Albany, went to Austin. And Lori's retiring, so it was kind of we all hate to see her go. She does fine work. I have the minutes of that meeting in the agenda available if anybody is interested. As Bruce pointed out, the banquets and the reception that are sponsored by the Education Foundation, where Kim and I are both involved in that, went extremely well. The Athletic Hall of Fame banquet is just like a big reunion of people who have been involved in athletics in this district, some of them for a long time. And the Distinguished Educator and Distinguished Alumni reception, I was quite frankly nervous about that one because I wasn't sure how many people would show up, but we had about the same attendance at that event as we did at the Athletic Hall of Fame event. And it was, you worry about these things, but getting together with those 4 distinguished educators and 4 distinguished alumni is another very pleasant reunion. So I'm really happy how well those events turned out. And that should be enough.
Thank you. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Klott. I attended the Business Ed Committee meeting on October 1st with the Chamber. We talked a lot about just housekeeping things with leadership that they're working on. They just really aren't able to do some things in person, so a lot of that's on hold. October is Manufacturing Month, and so the committee is doing some promotion of the manufacturing industry and working with employers. And so, and then we also talked about youth career planning, so there should be some additional information coming out for the Business Ed Committee on that. I attended the Education Foundation meeting on 10/13. We really just talked about the Pathways banquet because it was going to be the next night, and then a fundraiser we had, and for the first time it was pretty well attended. So we're hoping to have that even get better. And just to remind folks that the Albert Lee Education Foundation helps support the district through funding for special projects and scholarships. So it's an important arm of education here in Albert Lee. And then I attended the Toy Committee along with Bruce, and that was nice. They're looking for some additional committee members. And then I attended the Albert Lee Greater Education Project on 10/15, and that's the committee that was under the Education Foundation umbrella and has moved over to the work that John Double does here with the district. And we talk a lot about how we can partner with industry for our students. He is putting together, or the district is putting together a Pathways booklet. It looks really nice. It's going to come out soon. It's just some editing, and it's going to be basically a crosswalk for students. If there's something they're interested in, they can see what employers we have in that field locally, and then also what classes they would need to take in order for them to set them up for a position or career in that field. So it's really working. A lot of great stuff happening there. The only thing else I'll share is that I remind businesses in the community to look at Future Forward. It's a way for businesses to stay engaged with the district and the students. And so if you have any questions about that in the community, I'd be happy to answer those. And then we talked a lot about regional demand. There's a lot of vacancies and jobs. And so there's a nice report that came out from DEED that I'll share with the board members. It's quite lengthy, but it's good information. And I just received that today, so I'll go ahead and forward that on. And then I had the opportunity to be at the last football game, and it was just really nice to see all the people there and enjoying. I know it's not always about winning the game. It's about being with the school, right? And so it was really fun to see a lot of people. But I also am attending the Minnesota School Board Association Superintendent Evaluation webinar this Thursday, October 21st.
Good. Thank you. Angie.
You guys have been busy. I attended the curriculum committee on September 30th, and Neil was also there. Principal John Double presented on the online academy and gave a tour of how that works for the students. Really interesting, fun to watch that. I'm glad we have this option for kids. Obviously, most kids prefer the in-person model, but for some, this is just a better fit for them. It gives them the flexibility that they need, and I think it keeps some students connected to us who maybe would leave otherwise. So happy to learn about that. We also saw a presentation about a computer coding program that is offered in our elementaries, and I was a little jealous. It looked really fun, and I want to learn how to code too, so that was fun.
Good, thank you. And my main thing was the District Alumni Foundation. I thank you for putting that on. It was a great night with many people there, overflow room, and a lot of distinguished alums speaking. You never know how many there are until you get there. Thank you, guys. All right, teacher report. Go for it.
Hi, I have a thank you email from a high school social studies teacher that I want to share. She says, I was so excited to be able to take my kids on a field trip experience to the Freeborn County Government Center for Criminology class. The students had a great time. When the trip began, they were asked to show their hands if they were interested in a career in law enforcement. One student raised their hand. By the end of the tour, they were asked the same question, and around 15 students raised their hands. She's hoping that we can have more opportunities like this in the future in a variety of industries to show our students what they can do after high school. It was a great experience, and she says thank you. And then the other thing I wanted to just mention is that we have lots of teachers helping with referendum calling and putting in the time to make those calls to our community members. And I also want to extend a thank you to the board and to admin for the gift of Wednesday, September 20th as a work day for teachers. It's very much appreciated by all, so thank you for that.
Good. Thank you. Okay, 9.1, Kathy Niebuhr, District COVID Update.
So this is an update to the slides that I sent to the board on Fridays. And this is from the University of Minnesota from this morning. You'll see our county numbers are at 449 with the 7-day per 100,000, and then the old 99.4. So just a nice graph of where we are as a county, which will closely approximate some of the other graphs with some of our internal data. Just a notice to families, we'll be sending out that we will have Zoom-enabled vault saliva testing, all voluntary. They'll be available for pickup in biohazard bags, small biohazard bags from the schools, starting second quarter. And they will have to bring them back to the schools. We have to mail them back in our UPS mailers. Families set up the accounts, and families receive the results. We do not receive the results here at school. These are the same tests that are available to all staff every other Tuesday. So tomorrow is a voluntary vault saliva testing day here in all our schools. And then we also send those in via UPS. So just a short update on that. And this is a slide that comes, you'll see at the bottom there, it says K-12 School Nurse Update 10/13/21. And the Department of Health is putting together data like this to compare weeks from last school year to weeks from this school year of the E12 positive COVID-19 cases. And so these are student and staff. Blue is last year, and orange is this year. And one thing just to point out, you can see across the state where we have been. And there's a 2-week lag in reporting as tests come in and out and are recorded in the state database. So you'll see that high is the most correct week, and the next 2 weeks are lagging, so those numbers will change. And they put this out we see it every other week at our Minnesota Department of Health Wednesday morning briefings. So, and this is our data. These are active cases since the beginning of the year by date. And so you'll see, so these are students and staff who are within the 10-day infectious, self-reported to us that we know about. And so the yellow bar or orange bar is the first day we started masking 6-12, and then green is where we started masking K-12. And so this is up through this morning, and you'll see a very small number, which we're really happy to report that as of today we have 7 active cases. We had no new reported cases today from Friday, Saturday, Sunday that we know of. So this is data that I've shared with you since early on, and you'll see that as of today, the number of active cases and the number of new cases, and then I wait for Freeborn County Public Health to give us the school age cases. So, and then the next slide, this is then that total where we were as a county and kind of where we've dropped to, and then, you know, we hope we are on a downward trend. I think we were all hopeful when we started looking at the mask mandate that we would not see them go up, but we are seeing them come down again. And again, speaking about that 2-week lag that we know the Department of Health has posted in their numbers, we can see see impacts after 2 weeks. So these are the county numbers. And then the next slide is new, and this I started to report to you about 2 weeks ago. And so this is to take just the student data. So I've pulled all staff data out, and I take then the county data. So on both of those slides, I'm trying to compare Sunday through Saturday school data is how we operate, but the county doesn't report, for instance, today we get Friday data. So if I could try to compare my data from today to the county data, their data is reported out from Friday today. So the first attempt is at Sunday through Saturday school data, but what I tried to do then in the second group is the Friday through Thursday data, which really is the county data. So the red line on both charts looks the same. That's the county data. But the blue line is us. And so you will see, and really this is the end of the week. So this is the end of Thursday's data that's reported in our first column there. The second column is the county data. It's just the difference between the county school age data and our internal data then gives us non-Albert Lee school age population. And so that is the yellow line, which, and so I don't have any of this week's data left because, reported yet, because it then goes back to 0 and we go back up. But one thing you'll notice is that last week, I believe it's 52 cases, and 12 of those were ours. So 40 were non-Albert Lee students. So they could be anywhere from Glenville, Alden, Hollandale, St. Theodore's, homeschool students. But that's the county's data. Now, taking that into the county, when they publish this data on their Facebook page, they don't update that. So if there was an error, we go back and correct our data, but they don't go back and repost for that data on the Freeborn County's page. So this is a close approximation, and I really like that second chart because it's more accurate. But you'll see that there's a dip where early on it goes above the red line because the county didn't correct some data, and so I don't know what if we're off 1 or 2 here. But in general, you can see that our cases are decreasing, and today was a good day. So active cases are 7 for the school district as of today. Tomorrow, the numbers that will be reported are, and again, these are all the county numbers are public on the Freeborn County Public Health Facebook page. The only numbers the community wouldn't have access to is internally how many students we have that are positive. Those are internal information. But reporting them by the end of the week, you can see where we are at. So, and then this is something I've tried to provide you. We had a lot of clerical and secretarial staff out last week, so I don't have absorption rates, but you can see our fill rates are kind of up and down all week. And again, that second line where we pull internal subs hour by hour, those are tough on staff. Today, a little bit lighter day. We had 11 external subs and 11 internal subs. And because I normally don't ask secretaries to put in ASAP or frontline some of those fills. For instance, Kristen Seeger here can be pulled for a full day to teach third grade. Normally, she's our media specialist in 2 buildings. So those don't always get reported simply because our secretaries are just really busy doing other things. But we did post for, we did hire one of our subs. Our permanent subs is taking a full-time paraeducator position, so we're looking to fill that position at Halverson, and then also a second position at the high school. So that's all I have. Questions?
Okay, nothing in curriculum and instruction. Number 11, effective and efficient operations, referendum update, 11.1, Dr. Funk.
So, 2 things tonight. Jeff Halverson, the slide that's on is right. It was right. That's fine. So, 2 things tonight. Jeff Halverson did a nice job at the last meeting of talking about credit impact for families. So, we put some of his words into a presentation that we are providing around the district, and I thought I'd just share this with the board. So go ahead, Brittany, back to the presentation still. So as you can see here, Riverland credit costs $202. So if a student at Albert Lea High School takes 10 credits, it would save their family $2,000 because they get dual credit for Riverland and Albert Lea High School through our college and the schools classes. If they graduate with 20 credits, et cetera, et cetera. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we went back and we took a look. In 2019, we had our graduates earned 2,260 credits. At $202 a credit, it would have saved families $456,000. And that's at a Riverland credit. A lot of these credits transfer to private schools where they're considerably more expensive for credits. 2020, you can see the numbers there, and again, the tuition that families saved, and then there's 2021. So this is kind of the hard data. What we have done is we went out and we talked to some folks who teach college in the schools or AP, and then a couple students' impact statements, and that's, Brittany, what I want you to show the board right now. So we're putting this out on social media for people to see with the college and the schools and AP.
Hi, I'm Therese Netzer. I teach at the high school here in Albert Lea. I teach AP English Language and Composition, and I teach CIS Western Humanities. And both of these classes are really powerful for students because they offer high school credit, but also college credit at the same time. CIS, College in the Schools, lets students get high school credit and college credit as long as they get a C in the class. And AP lets students get the credit if they take the test and get a passing score for their college. So it's really a great opportunity for our students to be able to get their high school material, but also get actual college material and be one step ahead of their classmates, their peers, when they go off to post-secondary options.
Taking CIS and AP classes impacted my entry level at college immensely. I went into college having about 36 credits of general education courses done. It was amazing not having to take all of the basic classes like everyone else, and it allowed me to jump right into those higher level classes that were required for my major. Having a high school educator teach those CIS and AP classes was also such a great thing. As a student, I got to learn and ask questions in smaller class sizes and with teachers I had known for years. I took every AP course Albertley High School had to offer, as well as almost every CIS course, and the benefit I've had from taking those courses has already paid off so much. Academically, my transition to college was really smooth. I know what I'm doing. They taught me how to write, how to read, how to take tests for college in my CIS and AP classes in high school. So it's been a really comfortable transition, and I'm feeling confident about graduating in the next couple years. And I'll even be graduating early because of my CIS credits. I'm considered a sophomore at the University of St. Thomas, where I go to college, and that is saving me $60,000 just this year. And my involvement in the CIS and AP programs helped me get some scholarships here, as well as my admittance to the honors program, which will accelerate my graduation and expose me to some career opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise been exposed to. So overall, the AP and CIS programs at Albertley have been very valuable to me, and I think they're really important in school.
College in the school and the AP courses at the high school benefited my family greatly. I have 3 sons who graduated from Albertley area schools 2014, 2016, and 2019. And my youngest 2 were able to go to they attend a Big Ten college and were able to finish their degrees in 3 years instead of 4, which saved them about $25,000 in tuition and room and board, which for middle class families, that's a pretty big deal to save that kind of money on your college costs. I also feel like their ability to take those courses in high school were really, really valuable for them. It provided the rigor that they needed in order to prepare for college. It was motivating and inspiring for them. They were able to set long-term goals. The teachers pushed them. They had rich conversations, engaged them in cognitively complex tasks and content. All of that was able to be done at the high school, taking the AP tests, taking those classes. They did not have to go anywhere or leave campus to do those things. So they were still able to really participate in high school life also. So it would be a really sad and disappointing thing to lose those things in our high school here.
So once again, those are, potential. There's nothing that has been decided, but that is what potential impact could be for some folks. And so we thought we'd show you the hard numbers and then the human side of it as well. Thank you.
That's an excellent production, and especially Teresa Nesker. She's an Albany grad, so we can be very proud of her. I'd like to see more of those types of electives added. Not I would hate to see any of them removed. That's the direction we should be going, and not just for preparation in college, but also for vocational training, for vocational courses. And I've said this so much that you're sick of hearing it, but we have the luxury of having Riverland in our backyard. It's just natural that we should be a K-14 program, not just K-12, and we have the resources to do it.
Quick question: if the referendum fails, would the PSEO programs be affected as well, or just the college and schools?
College and the schools, because that PSEO is something we have to offer from a state perspective. So, okay. But the college and the schools would be the ones that could potentially be impacted.
Would there be room, do you know, for PSEO to absorb more students if needed, or not?
Yeah, and that would be a financial hit to the district, because we would have to then pay for the students to go to college. So it would be another
Another hit?
Right.
Okay.
And if the referendum passes, would I be able to start getting answers to my questions? That's a question.
Receive more, thank you. Okay, anything else on Dr. Funk's presentation?
I just want to make a comment about the college and the schools as well. I think it speaks to a larger effect in that the economic impact that that would potentially have on the district or on the community. The student loan debt is just really out of hand and then to have these students come into no matter if they're 2-year, 4-year, some college, some not, the idea that they have to come behind the 8 ball and start their job and then pay the student loan debt off. I think we as a district, we attract students. It's my understanding we attract students because of that ability, and we are also kind of looked at in the area as being progressive in this area because Albert Lea is the largest concurrent provider that Riverland has, and they have 24. So I think it's about partnerships, it's about collaboration, it's about building our own, it's about helping our employers right here in the community. So I just wanted to add that piece to it. Mm-hmm.
One is the Policy 533 Wellness second reading.
So we've gone over this at the last meeting, and if there are any further questions.
No?
Go
ahead, Neil.
In going over this with a fine-tooth comb, I discovered something interesting, and it's probably just the signs of the time. But when I was in grade school, one of my favorite parts of being in elementary was to have recess, we still have that, but it's in one of the statements in this policy made reference to recess as being somewhat lessened. Is that correct?
Well, I think it promotes physical activity, whether it's through PE or recess.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Jennifer. 11.22, Policy 10230, Student Medication Renumbered to Policy 516, second reading. Sheila?
Yeah, Sheila cannot make it tonight, so this is just the second reading. She went over the changes with you at the last meeting.
I do have a question about the EpiPen.
Okay.
It looks like, I know that changed, so that it looks like they're storing EpiPens according to students' health plans, but not having extra ones available. Is that right?
Correct.
What was the reason for that? A couple parents had reached out concerned.
I'll have to check with Sheila on that and the nurses.
It came up in curriculum committee or in policy committee, so we can answer that.
Sure.
They said that because of so students who have their own EpiPens can bring their own EpiPens or have them wherever they need to have them. There just won't be an extra general EpiPen in the buildings because they feel that their response time will be quick enough from like a 911 call, that the emergency response would be quick enough to meet any need. They felt confident in that.
Do you know, is it cost prohibitive to have extra ones?
I don't know if it's cost prohibitive, and I don't know what the expiration on them is either.
Yep.
I think that's probably the bigger concern.
Yeah, I think that she alluded to that during the policy committee, that they find themselves just never using them. So, and it sounds like with the personal plans that the students have,
they're able to have them on self, so, or available quicker than it would be in an office somewhere. So that was why that.
So I suppose the only time it would be a concern is if there's somebody who doesn't know that they might need one and they have an episode and then they'd wait for an ambulance. Is that what would happen? Okay. How long does that take? Do you know? Anyone?
Usually they're very, very responsive. I don't have a timeline for you, but our schools are not very far from the ambulance location.
Okay. Okay, 11.3, resolution of property tax abatement. This is an action item. Dr. Funk.
Go ahead and zoom that for me a little bit. So again, this is an agreement. I think it expires this year, December 31st, 2021. We have an agreement with the city, the county, and the school district to abate new housing. They are going to be coming forward with a new proposal for the district and the county and the city in the near future. So go ahead and scroll down. Address on that is, there you go, new construction. There's the location. And scroll back up, Brittany. Keep on going. Okay, stop there for a second. Go back down to number 2 or 3 there. Okay. So basically, we're abating it for 5 years. And again, we still get the land value, so there's no reduction there, but the abatement is on the new dwelling for 5 years.
So automatic when they're doing new construction?
They have to apply.
Okay, I would look for a motion to approve the property tax abatement.
I'll move to approve.
Okay. And a second, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose the same. Okay, passes. And 11.4, a resolution regarding the fund balance transfers. Jennifer Walsh.
Thank you. I'm asking you to approve a fund balance transfer for the 2021 school year. We were given authority by Minnesota Department of Ed for the FY20 and FY21 school years to have fund transfers for COVID-related reasons. We have a lesser amount this year that I am asking for. This was for our Tiger Cub daycare program that experienced last year numerous disruptions related to COVID, related to the infants and toddlers not being able to attend. Primarily was the reason, so they weren't able to keep their full roster of students. We are suggesting, in working with Chris Chalmers, that we transfer from the Early Childhood Family Ed Fund into the Reserve for Community Ed in the amount of $47,299. The the ECFE fund has continued to grow each year, the fund balance, and in fact, in FY21, grew by $64,000. So that restricted fund is well able to afford this fund transfer.
Any questions? Okay, I look for approval of the fund balance transfer. So moved. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose the same. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Is Mr. Dibble here? How are we going to get you to your concert tonight, sir?
Good, 7 o'clock start, band concert.
High school concert tonight. Thank you for coming. Our next meeting will be Monday, November 1st, study session here. Have a good night.